everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I will be talking about my TV and movie journal, my life journal, and my year of growth journal. Back in January, I made a video about my reading journal, and I went super in depth about my reading journal. I talked about like what I use it for, how I use it. I did like a flip through of it. I showed you guys all of the supplies and the art tools that I use for that journal. And in that same video, I also mentioned that I have 3 other journals and that I would probably make a video talking about these. So I'm finally talking about my other journals. I'm going to explain the journals and then I am going to do some quick flip throughs. I'm not going to go super in depth for these journals because some of them are kind of personal, but also I don't have a lot to these journals. Like I don't have a bunch of entries in them yet. So I'm just going to do like a very quick basic flip through, and then maybe at the end of the year I will do a flip through for some of them. I'm probably going to end up doing a flip through for my life journal at the end of the year and just show you guys all of that, but I'm going to do a mini flip through now and just show you guys how I use these journals, what I use them for, and all of that. I'm also going to link my reading journal video down below. I'm also going to link my stationery haul down below. A lot of the supplies that I use for these 3 journals here, I explained in my reading journal video. I pretty much use the exact same thing. So this is my TV and movie journal. This is where I keep track of all of the TV shows and the movies that I watch throughout the month. I document every single thing that I watch. Then I have my life journal, which is just spreads of journal entries, but also of like artsy, cute, fun spreads, things that I'm obsessed with, things that I love. The purpose of this journal is just to document my entire life in a year, anything that happens to me, anything that is going on, anything that I feel like is important to document for my life in a year. I put it in this journal. It's taken me like a little bit to kind of figure out how I want to do this journal and like all of the spreads. I'm not artsy like whatsoever. Like I can't draw. I barely can like write nice. I feel like my writing is very messy. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve because I wanted to try to draw or like write nice and I just realized I can't, so I have been figuring out how to do this journal. And the last journal I have is the year of growth journal. This is a journal that you have to fill out daily. There are like daily prompts and, well, not necessarily prompts. I feel like there's monthly prompts and like weekly prompts, but this is basically a journal that you fill out every single day and you just write about your day. Again, I'll show you guys like a brief overview of what this journal is and like what the point of it is. I love this journal. It's been really nice. I was kind of scared because I'm not the type of person that can like sit down and write stuff every day or like write my thoughts and feelings down every day. I get too lazy or I just have too much going on, so I never get around to doing it. But I've actually been pretty successful with this. There has been like a couple of things I have kind of failed at, but for the most part, I'm really loving this journal. So these are my 3 other journals that I use pretty much every day or every week. I'm going to go more in depth when I show you guys the flip through and I'll tell you where I got everything and all of that jazz. But these are my other journals. I'm obsessed with them. I love them. Journaling has been one of the best things that I have done so far for this year. I'm really happy that I started journaling. It's been really fun and relaxing and just very calming. I feel like if I'm ever super anxious, I write in my journal, like whether I do the year of growth journal or whether I decide to do a spread on something that I love, or I just decide to write down my thoughts and feelings. I feel like journaling has really helped me and I'm excited to see how it progresses throughout the entire year. Aside from my reading journal, like this is the first time that I'm actually going to journal like all year. I mean, I started my reading journal back in October, so that will be like a full year since I've really started journaling, but for like personal life related journaling, this is like the first time I've ever truly done it. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys an up close view of my journals, and I'm going to do a very quick but detailed flip through. I think I'm going to start with my TV and movie journal first. So this journal I got from Walmart for $10. It's from the brand Cambridge, and it has this elastic here. It has a bookmark and a place for a pen. This isn't like the most high quality journal. It's very thin and the pages aren't thick like at all, but I wasn't sure if I was going to use this journal a lot, so I didn't want to spend a lot of money. However, I feel like you could buy a higher quality journal at Indigo for around the same price. I think my reading journal was like $12, and it's super thick and the pages are quite thick. So next time I'm definitely going to buy a journal from Indigo, but this is the one that I have dedicated to my TV shows and movies. So this is my intro page. It's nothing fancy. I didn't have a lot of my supplies, my art supplies, when I started my journals. So I just wrote here film and TV journal, and I started it back in October of 2021, and I will write the month or day when I finish this journal. So then we get on to the first two spreads, and this is actually very similar to my reading journal. It's just not as detailed. So I have the title of the show or movie at the top, then I have like the seasons, or if it's like parts of a franchise or something. Then I write like where I watched it or like where it aired, and then I write like when it came out. This was a rewatch for me, so I wrote that down, and then I wrote like when I started my rewatch and when I finished it, and then my rating, and then I just wrote my review / thoughts. So obviously I didn't have much to say about the TV show, but I wrote a little bit of my feelings and thoughts and like review and stuff. There's some TV shows and movies that I'm going to have more to write about than others, but this is basically how all of my entries look like. I just wanted this journal to be something that I could keep track of what I'm watching and my initial feelings on what I watched. It doesn't need to be like anything super in-depth or important. So obviously I have For Only Murders in the Building, and then The Last Kingdom season 1. And then I have Finding Nemo and Harry Potter, and that was it for everything that I had watched at the end of 2021. I really didn't watch a lot of things at the end of the year, so that was kind of it. Then I did a spread for my favorite TV shows and movies of 2021. This was the first time I had done any kind of spread with pictures and like my printer. This was the first time I'd ever used my printer that I got for Christmas. I just printed all of the pictures of my favorite TV shows and movies of the year, and I used a glue stick, which I really don't like the look of, and I definitely learned from this that I would rather use double-sided tape than glue. Glue just makes the pages really weird, especially if you're dealing with very thin pages. It just kind of makes the pages like really wrinkly and crackly. So I don't like the look of that. But up here I just wrote 6 new favorite TV shows, 4 returning favorites, and then 4 new favorite movies. I just wrote like the title, the season, and then like my star rating. And that was it for my favorite TV shows and movies of the year. Then I did this spread on TV shows and movies that I want to watch in 2022. I actually did a whole video on this. I did have something here, but I ended up crossing it out because I decided I didn't want to watch that this year. Like, it wasn't a priority for me. These are all things that I really hope to watch this year, and I hope to check off the boxes once I have watched them. So then we jump into January, and the first thing that I watched this year was A Discovery of Witches season 1. This was a rewatch. A Discovery of Witches season 2, also a rewatch. I wanted to separate them so I could write my notes about each season. I didn't really have much to write because these were rewatches for me, but I did want to include some little thoughts and opinions. And then I did an entry for Discovery of Witches season 3. This was the first time I'd watched the season, so I wrote all of my thoughts and opinions and feelings. I'm sure this will be fun to look back on when I rewatch season 3 at some point. I am very curious to see if I'm going to change my thoughts and opinions, but this is how I initially was feeling as I finished season 3. Then I watched Shrek with my friends, and then we moved on to February. So February, I watched Through My Window. This was like my first initial review, and when I first watched the movie, like for the first time. And then I rewatched it. I wrote some more notes, and then at the bottom here, I decided to include all of my watches. So basically I can keep track of how many times I watch the movie in English and how many times I watch the movie in Spanish. So I just wrote down the dates of when I watched it, and I'm going to hopefully keep track of this like all year. I think this is better to keep track of everything instead of making an entry every single time I watch it, because if I rewatch it, I don't necessarily have notes all of the time, and I just want to keep track of how many times I've watched it, so I just kind of do that. And then we move on to my first wrap-up page. So I had never done a TV and movie wrap-up page in this journal, so this is the first one that I did. I obviously combined January and February together, so I had 1 TV show, 2 movies, and 8 rewatches. I'm not fully happy with how this looks. It's very similar to how I do my reading wrap-ups, like in my reading journal, and I do like how that looks, but I feel like I need a little bit more stats or like information for each thing, so I really want to try to change this. I don't know if I want to like put more detail into it or something, but I just feel a little unsatisfied with this. So I feel like this will probably change throughout the year, but it's a good starting point. And then after that, I just have my next entry. So I started watching Pull Dark. So I decided to just go ahead and start the entry, and I'm gonna obviously fill it out when I finish season 1. But that is really it for my TV and movie journal. It's very simple, very basic, but it helps me keep track of every single thing that I watch. And I feel like it's really going to help me at the end of the year to keep track of all of my stats and all the information about everything that I watch. And I'm very excited to start including like all of my rewatches, because there are so many things that I rewatch throughout the year that I don't really keep track of. So this is going to be very helpful and handy with that. And I'm very excited to see what and how many things I watch in the year. Now moving on to my life journal. So this is a hardcover journal from Indigo. I think I paid like around $25 to $30 for this journal. This is by the brand back here. I don't really know how to pronounce this brand, so I'll just put it up on the screen, but it comes with this elastic and then 2 bookmarks. This is also a dotted journal. It's not lined. I'll try to link down the exact journal if you want to know. So this is my intro page. I did a very like simple thing because, like I said, for my TV and movie journal, I didn't really have any of my art supplies when I started my journals. So I just kind of used markers and like the occasional thing. I had my printer when I started this journal, but I didn't have any stickers or anything like that. So it's very basic. I was going to redo it, but I kind of just left it because I liked the idea of this journal having progress. I just have a date started, and I will put a date when I finish it. And then this was the first spread that I did. These are my goals for 2022. I was going to put 2 more goals here, but I couldn't think of any more, so I just kind of left them blank. I love this like white, blue, and black theme. I think it's very simple and very me. And I don't know, it was my first entry and it actually turned out okay. Like obviously I'm not happy with this or this, but it's a learning curve. Then we get on to my January title page. So I decided to do this journal by month, and each month I will have a title page, and I will do it like in a theme or anything that I want to do. So this one was just very basic. I stuck with like a green flower plant theme. So I just printed out like a little calendar here, and then I wrote things to look forward in the month. So I had like a personal thing, and then I had a TV show and 2 books that I was excited for. I love keeping track of things that I am looking forward to in a month. I think it's really fun, and it's going to be nice to look back on this journal at the end of the year and to look at what I was excited for in each month. Then we get on to my first journal entry. So these are some personal notes and thoughts, and I decided to write about my 2021. So I kind of just wrote how I was feeling, what was going on in my life in that year, and then I did write a couple of things that I hope 2022 would bring. I went on to do this headache tracker. I suffer from chronic migraines, and I typically get like 4 a month. I just called it headache, but honestly I get really, really bad migraines. I just feel like headache is a fancier name than migraines. I don't know. Then we move on to my first like artsy spread. This was dedicated to A Discovery of Witches. Obviously, I rewatched season 1 and season 2, and then I watched season 3 for the first time in January. So I decided to do a whole spread on the show, and I just printed out pictures from each season, and then I wrote some stuff with my pen. So I just wrote the character's name, a quote from my favorite scene of the show, and then another quote from the show and the book, same here. And I actually used this page from Shein. I think I showed this in one of my stationery hauls. And then I just tore out all of this from like a big book that I have. And yeah, I'm very, very happy with the spread. I loved how it turned out. Like, obviously it's not perfect, but for what I was doing and like my first time, I'm so happy with the spread. It looks so good. So that was the end of January, and I decided to kind of do like a monthly wrap up. So I wrote my January thoughts and feelings. I basically just wrote how I was feeling in January, what happened, what was going on, and I just kind of wrapped up the entire month of January in a journal entry. And then I did a January memories and favorites. So I included my favorite book, my favorite music and albums of the month, and then my favorite TV show of the month, and a like favorite memory or thing that I loved, which was my bangs. So I took some pictures and I just wrote a little bit about that. And yeah, I just wrote some details about each thing. Like down here I wrote like my favorite songs off the albums and stuff. Then we move on to my February title page, and this is actually a copy of somebody else's. So I am obsessed with watching journal related videos, and I really love Journal with Chloe. I love obviously her book channel, but I also really enjoy her journal channel. And she actually did this spread, and I think one of her life journals. And I just thought it would be fun to try to copy somebody else's spread to see if I can actually draw or write nice. Obviously, this did not turn out good at all. Like, I really don't like my writing in here. I don't like my drawing, but it was an experiment. I wanted to try something new. I wanted to see if I could recreate something that I liked from somebody else's journal. I had to like put a black marker here to try to cover that mistake up. I also ended up drawing a ghost, but I hated it so much that I printed out this little ghost to like cover my initial drawing. It just made me realize I cannot write fancy, I can't draw, and that's okay. I'm just gonna stick to like printing things or like trying to do something different. I also was using my new pens on my black paper for the first time, so I wanted to kind of experiment with that too. And then I did include on this side things to look forward in the month. So I had a movie, Valentine's Day, and like a book, and then a TV show. I'm happy with how this side turned out. Like this side is pretty cute, but this, I just kind of ignore that. Then we get on to my first spread for February. So I was obsessed with the Netflix movie Through My Window. So I did a whole spread dedicated to the movie. So I just printed out some pictures from the movie and like some behind the scenes photos and stuff like that. I also printed the book cover because I did read the book. And then I just have like the title down here and the Spanish title, and then my star rating, which I totally screwed up on my stars. They look awful. And then I have like a little pen mark here, which I also hate. And I know not all of my spreads are going to turn out perfect, and that's okay because this is just for fun. This is like a personal, fun, relaxing experience. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but I wrote a couple of notes up here and then also down here. And yeah, I actually really like how this spread turned out. It's not super chaotic, but I feel like it's really cute and simple, and I really like this. And then it was Valentine's Day, so I decided to do a simple and easy spread on my favorite romances and like my favorite book couples. So I printed out this here, and then I used like some washi tape and then just my colored markers. And then I printed out a picture of each book that I really love, and then like an inspo pic or like a fan cast type thing. Then we get to another spread that I have dedicated to the cast of Through My Window. I was so obsessed with this movie in February that I just had to do another spread, and I wanted to specifically do like an appreciation spread. So I basically just printed like all of my favorite pictures of Clara and Julio together when they did like press or photo shoots or like other stills from the movie, and I just put them all on this page, and then I wrote like a couple of things here, and then I wrote some stuff on the side and then on the bottom there too. I actually really love how this turned out. Like, it's basically just a bunch of pictures of them, but I really love how this spread turned out. It's one of my favorites. Then we have my February memories and favorites. I decided to change this up a little bit. Normally I would have had my personal journal entry, but I decided to do the memories and favorites first. I included my favorite movie, my favorite book, and then I had like 2 personal home stuff. So I have like my new computer set up. Then I bought a new humidifier, which I really liked. So I just included all of that in here. And obviously I didn't have a lot of favorites, so I ended up writing a lot of details about each item. Then we get on to my February thoughts and feelings. This again is another personal journal entry where I talk about my February, how it was for me, what was going on in my life, and all of that. Then we get into my March title page, which I decided to dedicate to Ariel and the Little Mermaid. I was born in March, and one of my favorite childhood movies is The Little Mermaid, so I thought it would be fun to do something dedicated to my childhood and something that I was like obsessed with as a kid. And I don't know, this journal is really fun for me because I feel like I can really embrace my inner child and like reflect on things that I loved when I was a kid. And this was the first time I used tissue paper. I actually really like how it turned out. I am not super into using like very thick paper because it kind of makes the journal weird. Like, I used it for obviously the February title page, and I just, even though this looks fine, it just makes the journal feel really heavy. So I started experimenting with tissue paper, and I really like how it turned out. So yeah, I did this little spread, and then I have things to look forward to. So a book, my birthday, and my dad's birthday. So my first entry for March is dedicated to my birthday. So it was my 26th birthday on the 9th of March. So I just wrote a full journal entry, and then I did print out some photos. I have also some photos at like this corner, and then that other corner, and then the other corner. I just basically wrote like what happened on my birthday, what I did, how I was feeling, and how I was feeling about turning 26, and like what I ate, what was my birthday meal, all of that. I ended up writing a full entry on my birthday. And then that was actually the last entry that I have up to date. So that is my life journal. It's definitely an experiment. I have been playing around with a lot of different things, and as you can see, like, my journal gets more and more creative. I'm just very excited to keep track of my year in an art form and to document things that I'm obsessed with and things that I love, and also keeping track of how I'm feeling and what's going on in my life. I love how this is a mixture of like art, spreads, and then also journal entries. I just love the 2 mediums together. I feel like it's very much me, and I am really obsessed with this journal. I really love it. Then we move on to the last journal, which is the Year of Growth journal. So this journal is from Dreamy Moons, and this I ordered at the end of last year. This is technically like a daily planner or like a daily diary, but I kind of use it for more of like a thing to keep track of, if that makes sense. I'll show you guys in a little bit more detail, but this is just a beautiful journal. It has 2 bookmarks here. This was $60 Canadian with shipping and everything. This company is an Australian company, so I did order it all the way from Australia. I did order this because Chloe has the same one, and I ordered it when she showed it in one of her stationery hauls. I just had to have it. It's so pretty, and I really wanted to make journaling a priority for me in 2022, so I definitely splurged and got this. This is the intro page. It's very pretty. Then we move on here. This is kind of an example of what the layouts look like for this journal. So you have like a weekly layout, which just has the entire week there. Then you have end of week reflection and intention setting. Then you have end of month reflection and intention setting. You also have moon journaling, so when there's a new moon and a full moon. Then there's just some like nice information and like guidance, I guess. So there's like practicing gratitude, daily journaling. There's some information if you've like never journaled before or anything like that. I feel like this is really helpful and handy. I definitely read through all of this. I think it's a very nice touch. Then you have like a self-love page and things to do, some self-love ideas. And then here there's some information about the moon. So there's the power of the moon and moon rituals and things to do like on a new moon and on a full moon. And then there's just like some information about like the moons and stuff and like what to do or things like that. Then we also have a spread of when the full moon is and when there's a new moon. It takes courage to grow up and become who you truly are. So the first entry here is to write about your 2021. So basically just write how you felt in 2021, what was going on in your life, things that you did, your favorite memories, basically just writing a full summary of the year. And then this spread was a goodbye to 2021. So writing the biggest lessons that you learned in the year. And then on this side, you were supposed to write things that you were thankful for in the year, things that you learned, something that you overcame, and then also your year in one word. And then this is a hello to 2021. So here you were supposed to write your health goals, your career goals, your relationship goals, and then your personal goals. You had around 7 spaces for goals for like each thing, and you can write like very specific goals for each category, which I think was very interesting. I never really thought of it that way. I kind of just always think of my goals as like overall, not like divided by like health, career, relationship, and personal. So this was kind of a very interesting way to look at your goals for the new year. And then the next prompt or entry that you have is the dream up one, where you write about your year in present tense and you kind of just write what you want to happen in 2022. This I really like. It helps you kind of manifest your year. This is a vision board, which I completely forgot to fill out, to be honest. I feel like I still have time to fill this out. So then we have the first page for like the weekly layout. And I actually didn't get this journal till like the I think second week of January. So I have a lot of blank pages, but this is basically what it looks like. So you have like your weekly intention, and then you have each day. And at the end of each day, you write something that you're grateful for. And then there's like always a little quote at the top. And then at the end of the week, you write your reflection. These prompts change every single week, so you always have something else different to write. And then down here, you have my week in one word. And then for the upcoming week, you have intention setting. So things that you are excited about or that you want to happen or that you plan on doing. And then intentions for like specific aspects of your life. And then I will practice self-love by doing whatever. So then this was the title page for January. It tells you when the new moon is, when the full moon is, and then you obviously get like the zodiac sign and stuff. And this is what some of the new moon and full moon pages look like. They're not always like this. They change all of the time, but this is what it was for January. So yeah, there's just usually like a lot of questions about how you're feeling and like what's going on in your life. And then there is usually a calendar layout, which I honestly do not use. I don't use this. This is kind of a waste for me, but it is here if anybody uses calendar layouts like this. Then again, you have the layouts for the entire week, which again, I didn't fill out because I didn't get this journal till later. So I got this journal on the 11th of January, and I use this journal to keep track of everything that happens to me in the day. So I don't use this as a planner. I use it as something to keep track of what happened to me or what I was doing every single day. So up here, my intention was to spend less time on social media. And then right here, I was like, oh, I got this journal today. I literally spent the day reading and journaling. And then I wrote like what I was grateful for. So that's pretty much what I use this journal for. It's not a planner. It's something I use to keep track of what I do every day. Oh yeah, and then this was like goodbye January, hello February. You have a couple of prompts to fill out, and then you move on to the next month. So that's basically like a summary of this journal. I feel like this is a really great journal to help me relax and think about things and reflect a lot, which I feel like I don't do that often. Like before this journal, I definitely didn't reflect on like my week or my month or like what is going on in my life. I definitely wouldn't reflect about things and like write them down. So this has really helped with that, and just to keep track of like how I'm feeling and what I'm dealing with and how I can improve myself as a person. Obviously this is like a year of growth, so it's determined to make you grow as a person. I really do like this journal, but I don't feel like I use it to the fullest potential, to be honest. I don't know if I would repurchase this. As of right now, I don't think I would. I definitely would like to try a different type of journal next year, but who knows? Maybe once I get through this journal, like halfway through the year, I might fall in love with it and want to repurchase this type of journal. But as of right now, I feel like it would be a little bit more fun to experiment and try different journals. I already kind of have my eye on one for next year, but I do think this is a really good journal to start out with, especially if you want to be like a little bit more organized, because you can use this as a daily planner. I mean, that's, I think, what it's made for. I just don't use it that way because I don't always need to plan out every single day, especially if like I go to work and that's all I do. So I like to keep track of just more what I'm doing every day and stuff. In a couple of years, it'll be nice to look back on this journal to just see what I was going through this year. And I don't know, I'm really into journals and like keeping track of what is going on in your life within a year. So that was it for my other journals. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you journal and what you use or what kind of journals that you do. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.